So, part one of the Stranger Things finale has aired. So, we got the first four episodes today, and then we're going to get three more on Christmas Eve, and then the finale on New Year's Eve. So, let's talk about this first batch of episodes, which I think is actually really solid. I think that this is a phenomenal, little piece of storytelling, especially how they are setting up for a grand finale. I don't know how grand this finale is going to feel, especially compared to last season, which really knocked it out of the park. But I really like the setup that they've got going so far. Although there are a few critiques with the show as a whole that I will maybe discuss here towards the end of the video, because I don't want to fully go into too many spoilers on the first four episodes, but I'll go into some minor ones at the end. But I really like what they are doing with the setup of this season and really tying together all the four previous seasons, something that season 4 was already starting to do as well, but there was a lot of neglect towards mostly season 1 and 2. Season 4 really did well to tie in with season 3, and season 3 did somewhat to tie in with season 2, but not as much. But it really made season 1 and season 2 kind of feel standalone-ish. And I really like what they're doing already with the season and how they're trying to tie it all together, especially with how it starts right away. It just hits the ground running, and it does a really good job of setting up what should be a very climactic final act for this show. And I think the performances are still really solid. They're really good. And the visual effects have definitely been getting better and better. And the action sequences and the horror sequences are also starting to be slightly improved as it leans in a little less horror sci-fi to a little more fantasy sci-fi action. And I'm really intrigued to see how they play it off in these the second half of the season. More specifically, I want to see what they're doing with part 2 and how they will set up even further for the finale. So I'm really intrigued for that. So I'm going to get into a little bit of spoiler talk now. But if you just want to know the basics of what I thought about so far this first batch of episodes, I think it's really solid. I really enjoy it, where it's going. And I do recommend checking it out. But now I'm going to get into a little bit more details and spoilers, because I do kind of want to talk about what is making this season work and what isn't working necessarily. So leave if you don't want to know any more than that. But yeah, 3, 2, 1, spoiler talk now for the first 4 episodes of the season. One thing that I'm really liking about this season is what I also really enjoyed about season 4, and what I liked about many of the seasons, is how they are able to split up the characters and have each of them in their own little pod to tell their bit of the story that will then all link together near the end. Now, I think they're doing a good job of setting this one up so far, especially through gradual introductions of so this is this group, this is team A, this is team B, this is team C, and making them all feel equally important, even though some storylines do kind of get forgotten during certain episodes. I like what they're doing, and I just hope that it pays off very well, like it does in season 4. I think season 4 had a really good payoff for all of them, separate but together. And so here's to hoping that they can nail that landing just like they did in season 4. But now, the biggest issue with this, especially this first batch of episodes, is the fact that this is the final season, and it feels like there aren't really any stakes. If you, look, there, in episode 2, there is the shocker of a lot of what happens. They even hid the title name, which is not the best thing, because it was so obvious what it was going to be, and everyone even knew beforehand, because I think it also got leaked. But if you watch the first episode, you're like, oh yeah, it's going to be her. And so the real issue is that there is no stakes. Every character that gets killed off is a character that is just introduced. They don't kill anyone off, and they do too much fake out deaths. Something that I hope that they will change and fix in the next batch of episodes, but it's something that should have really already been set in motion with this batch, especially with episode 2, and how they could have just as easily killed the Wheelers' parents. Like, they don't add much to the story, and they could have both been easily just offed to show that there are some stakes. Characters that have been here since season 1 are not safe. But after hearing that they're both gonna make it through and they're alive, it really shows that the show doesn't have stakes, and it really dampens the potential of the show, because there's just nothing to get really invested in, because all the characters are kind of safe. And it just, in certain stories that makes sense, but in the story like this, it doesn't. So I'm hopeful that they'll probably introduce better stakes for our climactic finale, because this is supposed to end the show. And if they are saving just one major character death for the final episode, I don't think it would hit as hard as seeing that we are willing to kill off characters. But if we look at the body count of who they've murdered, it's Barb, who was introduced in that season. It was Sean Astin, who was introduced in that season. And then season 3, there was Lexi, who was introduced in that season. Season 3 also has Billy's death, but he was introduced in season 2, so I guess slight pass there. And then season 4 has Eddie Munson, who was introduced that season. So they always introduce a side character that then they just kill off to be like, oh, we have stakes. And it just doesn't work. So I'm really intrigued to see how they continue that on. But overall, still a really solid batch of episodes. I really like the narrative and the world building and how they are further connecting this. They're tying the whole season together, and they're wrapping it up nicely. So I'm really excited to see what the next batch brings. And that's pretty much it for today and my thoughts on this first part of the finale of Stranger Things. But that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below your thoughts and opinions on Stranger Things 5. If you've seen it, or now you're planning on seeing it, but let's be honest, you've either already seen it or you're waiting for all 5 episodes to drop. Or all 8 episodes to drop, sorry. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys next time. Till then, bye.